This is perhaps one of the worst questions you can be asked in any interview. What are your salary expectations? Welcome back to my channel. I'm John, and throughout these videos I talk about interviewing, preparing resumes and CVs, employment, and everything in between. Thankfully, in the US at least, a lot of states, I think we're up to 22 states now, have called for more transparency in the hiring process, and companies are required to state the exact salary of a position, or at least to give a very firm range. And it's become illegal for them to ask what a candidate's salary expectations are. But throughout the remainder of the US states, Canada, the UK, it is still very common for candidates to be asked what their salary expectations are. Very challenging question. You're already feeling very uncomfortable. You're in a new environment, and you're being, in a way, asked to quantify immediately in the interview what you feel you're worth. Now, there's a number of approaches you can take to answer this question. Whichever approach you decide to take, I strongly suggest that you conduct research before the interview. Go onto sites such as salary.com, Glassdoor. Each of those will provide a lot of resources so you can explore what the exact salaries of that company are, or what the salaries in that industry are. Now, you already may be working at that level in a similar position elsewhere or within that industry, so you'll have a sense. But if you don't, definitely do your research beforehand. Now, if you do feel compelled to give an answer and they ask you what your salary expectations are and you haven't been able to find out any information, ask what the range is. And they should give you two numbers between X and Y. Go for the higher end. Not fully, go just a little bit below. And in doing so, tell them what your value is, what your unique qualities are, what your qualifications are. Highlight your past successes to justify asking for the higher number of that salary range. If you're very interested in the job, but they've proposed a salary that's a little bit less than you anticipated, ask them immediately, is there room for negotiation? Can that number be looked at once you've proven yourself at the company and you've hit all of the performance metrics? Is there room for negotiation for that number to be adjusted? Another approach to take would be to propose a range. Rather than giving a firm number, propose a salary range. And again, if they ask you where you fit within that, aim towards a higher level, but do tell them that you know, you're aware that you're an unproven quantity. You do feel that you'll be able to perform at the level at which they want. So propose a range, and really in doing this, you're kind of highlighting your flexibility. Another approach would be to not give an answer at all, but rather stall for more time. So if they ask you, what are your salary expectations? Respond with, I'd like to learn a little bit more about this job, what the exact requirements are, what the context of the job is. You don't want to be signing on the dotted line on a contract and then find out you have to work every single weekend. You'll be on call for 24/7. That the performance metrics are way different than those discussed in the interview. So tell them that you'd like to learn a little bit more about the company and about the job before you come back later with a number. So you've done your research. There's a number of different approaches you can take. You can be rather non-committal and say that you need more time, that you've proposed a range of salaries. You've asked them what the salary range is. But if they are pressing you for a number, there is one, and you've done your research, so you have a good idea as to what that salary should be. Here's a suggested answer you can give them. Given my track record of success, and given that I meet all of the requirements for the position, I would be happy discussing an amount between X and Y, or I would be happy with X. I think you will find this is a competitive number, and that you will quickly see a positive return on investment for the company. So again, a lot of this is based upon your research, knowing your resume, knowing your numbers, knowing what they're looking for and how you can fulfill those requirements. So again, one of the worst questions I think any company should will ask you during an interview, personally, and this is a personal opinion, I think it should be completely abolished. Companies, there should be complete transparency in the hiring process where the exact salary is given, where there is no longer a clause for salary according to experience. You'll be expected to do the same job regardless of your experience level. Yeah, it should be done away with completely. The companies should be forthcoming and say, this is what we're paying you. They're telling you what you have to bring. So I just think it's only fair that from a candidate's perspective, that the candidate is then told, this is what the exact salary, compensation level, and benefits package is for that particular job. But until then, that question will still come up. Go with one of these approaches. Nothing in any of this, I believe, will back you into a corner where you're forcing yourself to take a number that you won't be happy with. But do your research beforehand. Go into the interview knowing what you bring, but go into the interview knowing a number that you'll be happy with. I hope you got some value from this video. If you did, I'd appreciate a thumbs up and subscribing to this channel. It motivates me to keep producing more content. If you have any questions in the meantime, drop me a comment below. Or if you have any ideas, suggestions, or recommendations for how you can answer this question, I'd love to hear them. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one.